On this episode of Three Tool Players, we continue our Major League Baseball preview with our National League deep dive and our predictions for award winners at the end of the season. Also, Dan doesn't like his brother. All this and more on this episode of Three Tool Players. Welcome to Three Tool Players. I'm Chris Spear, and alongside me, as always, are the Hammer brothers, Brian and Dan Hammer. Say hello to the internets, guys.
Ahoy, ahoy.
We're going to jump right back into our Major League preview with the National League by way of a game called True or False. We did this for our AL preview, which was our previous episode, so make sure you check that out. And we'll jump right back into the National League with this. True or false, despite the addition of Juan Soto, the Mets will miss the playoffs this year.
I'm just going to have to say false with that. It's just with what the Mets went through last year with the resurgence of their team playing as a cohesive unit, thanks to Grimace. I feel that with the addition of Juan Soto and with Kodai Senga coming back, they have the starting rotation that is at least somewhat decent with a lot of firepower in that batting lineup of theirs.
It's almost impossible for me to say you don't get to the playoffs, all right? Because of the horses you added. Juan Soto is a difference maker. I will admit that. All right. We rode Juan very well through last year, through the playoffs, got us to the World Series. I won't deny that at all. But I just, in the back of my mind, I always feel like the Mets have some kind of dark cloud over them. Like something's going to happen in the middle of the season where, one of your starting pitching is going to have to go on the, what do they call that? The domestic violence list.
Oh my God.
Or somebody's going to have, or somebody's going to have some kind of weird like medical ailments, and get bad kidney stones in July. Like the most dumb thing possible happens to the Mets.
So are you saying that you're envisioning like a Wando Franco happening to the Mets in 2025?
I'm imagining a Wando Franco at every position. I think somebody gets scurvy at first base. I think somebody gets diabetes at second base, right? I think who's that short? Let's go around the horn here.
What are you going to do to Frankie Lindor? Leave Lindor out of this.
Lindor gets busted for like illegal dog fighting ring. I mean, just the most random. You know what your team is? Your team is the 1992 Springfield Power Plant softball team, right? And the only player that's going to show up that day is going to be Juan Soto, like your Dallas Strawberry. Everybody else is going to get something random happening. Like someone's going to get beat up in a bar fight. Somebody's going to get some sort of weird nuclear sickness. It's going to happen throughout your entire life.
Mattingly's not going to shave his sideburns.
No, there won't be any sideburn shaving. All right. Somebody will be drinking some juice tonic, so somebody's going to get hit with roids. All right. I'm telling you, you're going to run into a buzzsaw of awfulness this season. There, I've said it. I love you, man, but these are facts.
So I, as a Met fan, am familiar with this feeling. Which is why I am going to say this is absolutely true. The Mets, despite the addition of Juan Soto, are going to miss the playoffs.
It's a big man.
We can't have nice things as Met fans. And Juan Soto is a nice thing. We can't have nice things. New York sports fans can't have nice things. We had Saquon Barkley, and then we let him go to the Eagles, where he goes ahead and tears up everything and wins the Super Bowl. This is what happens. We can't have nice things. Juan Soto signs as a Met, and he's going to pull both hamstrings within the first 10 games.
Yep.
Even if he plays 150, 160 games, the Mets aren't built to win. The Mets are built to compete, and I feel the same way about this team, even with Juan Soto. But the pitching isn't there. The Griffin Cannings of the world, the Clay Holmeses of the world, David Peterson, Tyler McGill. I said this the last time. There is nobody there. But things are going to have to break right for the Mets for them to make the playoffs. Much like last year, where you needed to everything had to go right for the Mets last year with Severino, with Quintana, with Minaya. Everything had to go right. It had to break right for them, and it did. I don't know if the Mets are going to be that lucky again this year. Juan Soto is a difference maker, yes, but I don't think he's going to be enough to make the difference to get them into the playoffs. The National League is stacked. So I don't see the Mets with the one addition making the playoffs and with a weak rotation. And with Edwin Diaz, who's lost some zip on his fastball, but nobody seems to care in the Mets organization. With AJ Minter, who you don't know when he's coming back. I don't see it as a Met fan, but I'm programmed for misery. And that's
We
where I
all know
just think
that.
we are.
We
That's
all know
where I think
that.
we
And
are.
Spear, that's why you and I became very fast friends because
You
my
enjoy
Yankees
you
were
enjoy the misery, right?
my Yankees were enjoying a renaissance, and I would come across the hall and I would just embrace you as my brother. Say, come here, buddy, bring it in for the real
That's
thing.
great. That's
You're
great.
part of the
That's
you're
great.
part of this New York win. This New York win is shared with you.
I don't want to be a part of
And
your
and
win.
then you try to slime off. I was like, no, just embrace, enjoy
Yeah, take your win and shove it. Okay,
it.
take your win and shove it. All right, true or false? Damn it, I'm moving on because now I feel terrible. True or false? Until further notice, the NL East is the Braves division to lose.
False. I think that they're competitive, but they're not immune to injury. I mean, look at last year. I think that Philly still has a lot to say, and I don't think it's theirs to lose.
I say true, and I'm going to have to say that they are immune to injury because they finished with 89 wins last year without a Ronald Acuna. Michael Harris Jr. was down a significant amount of time. Ozzy Albies was down. And it's just they were hit with the injury bug last year, and yet they still had 89 wins. They even lost Spencer Strider last year, and they still wound up with 89 wins. Now, I understand that Ronald Acuna Jr. is coming back in May, so they're not going to have him, but they're going to have Jared Kelenic as kind of a replacement for him in the meantime. But with the addition, Jerkison Profar from San Diego to lead off
Mm-hmm.
for the time
Mm-hmm.
being. I feel you take a look at that lineup, and that lineup is scary. That lineup is either 20 to 30 home runs right down the lineup. It's unheard of. And with Spencer Strider coming back into the rotation probably sometime in April, that team is scary. I get it. I'm a Phillies fan, but kind of like Chris, like you are with the Mets, I feel skeptic about the Phillies because the Braves, they're just a scary team up and down that lineup.
Yeah, I agree, which is why I would say true to this. I think adding Profar was a big help to help stem the tide a little bit between now and when Ronald Acuna comes back. And it'll probably be later in April, it'll probably be sometime in May.
Mm-hmm.
The last time he had this kind of an injury, he came back and he wasn't quite himself. He was always in pain. So I think what the Braves are doing this time around is very smart, and they're giving him the additional time to heal. They're not rushing him back so that when he does come back, he's Ronald Acuna Jr. He's a potential MVP candidate, and I think it's smart. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcelo Zuna, Ozzy Albies, Michael Harris, Jared Kelenic. I mean, that lineup from top to bottom, like you said, is stacked. The rotation, Chris Sale, Spencer Schwellenbach.
Yep.
Don't sleep on him, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And then when you bring back Strider, that's a team that's built to win. And for me, getting to 89 wins last year, like you said, with all the injuries they had, just proves how good they are when they're fully healthy. If they're fully healthy and they're a fully operational battle station, it's the Braves division to lose. I mean, the Mets are improved, obviously. The Phillies are good. They're getting older and the window's closing a little bit. So this may be the last year or two for the Phils to really break through.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's the Braves division to lose until further notice. All right, let's move on to the Central. True or false? A full season of Paul Skeens will have the Pirates sniffing the playoffs. Bri, what do you think?
What does that mean, sniffing the playoffs? Do they make the playoffs or they don't make the playoffs, but they
They'll
get
make the
close?
playoffs with a full season. With a full season of Paul Skeens, the Pirates will make the playoffs.
False. Again, this is a cheapskate team. You can't patchwork a bunch of ragtag farm system kids and continue to take luxury tax money year over year to stuff your own ownership's pockets and keep flipping off the great city that is Pittsburgh, which I believe is a great city, and continually disappoint them year after year after year after year. I don't care how good Skeens is, they're not going to get it done.
I'm gonna have to say False as well. Everything that Brian is saying is true. Unfortunately, I have to agree with him. I don't think old man
Feels good,
McCutcheon
doesn't
is
it?
going.
Feels
Shut
real
up.
good. I know it does.
Shut your mouth.
It
But I mean,
feels good.
with Paul Skeens, I mean, like it's a team game. It's not just one man. He's phenomenal. He absolutely is, and I feel like he is going to be the NL Cy Young. But do I see him lifting that team to make the playoffs? I don't.
Let me ask you a question. Does anybody know? I don't know off the top of my head because I don't look to the NL Central because, again, I'm surprised there's actually even a Central division. Um, somebody like, with Skeens, remind me again, how long is he under contract for?
Well, this is his second year, Bry. I mean, like, his first year was last year, and phenomenal. He
All
won
right,
Rookie of
but
the Year last year.
no. But what I'm trying to say is, okay, so if he's rookie of the year, whatever, he's going to be a huge bargaining chip. So who's to say that a team like the Yankees don't swoop in,
Oh my
ask
God!
for a
You
trade,
Oh,
shut your
stop.
mouth.
maybe it becomes big?
Stop.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Why are you getting angry?
Well,
It's
because it
They're
really
not.
having fun.
is.
The Pirates are not going to give up Paul Skeens in his second year. Maybe
He's
like
get
his fourth or fifth year. But I'm sorry, your Yankees are going to suck this year. Deal with it.
Suck. You're gonna suck. All right, I'm
I.
I
sorry.
knew, I
I didn't
knew
mean to
there
make
was
you
an
hurt.
angle with this. I knew there was an angle.
Oh
There
my
always is.
God.
I'm an
Oh
opportunist.
my
We're the
God.
Yankees.
Terrible.
Join the dark side. We've got cookies.
Get out of here. I would also say that this is false. I think Skeens is a wonder kind who should probably, like you said, he should probably be in the Cy Young consideration in his second year. But where's the run support going to come from?
Nowhere.
O'Neal Cruz and Key Brian Hayes can hit, but they're going to have to
Mhm.
mash. They're going to have to mash if the Pirates have a chance to climb the ladder in the NL playoff hunt. There are too many good teams in the National League for them to really be sniffing the playoffs just because of Paul Skeens. All right, so true or false? The Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, the Cubbies won the offseason in the NL Central and will win the division as a result.
False. I think they did well in the offseason, but I still like Milwaukee. Still think they're relevant. And my good buddy Yelich over there is starting to get healthier after his surgery. So he's going to start putting up even better numbers than he has in years past. And I think that team is gelling well. And I'm excited for them. Even though they get to play the Yankees day one and they'll get swept, I still feel pretty good about these upstarts.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I am
all
the
right.
longer we do this, the
Can,
more I want to throw him off the show.
Of course you do.
Seriously,
Oh my
I think he's
God.
trying to get thrown off the show.
Shut up,
Obviously.
Dan. It's working.
All right.
No,
Can I give my answer? Because
Yeah.
enjoy
I
yourself.
completely I thankfully I disagree with my brother, and this makes me feel good inside. So I'm going to have to say true. Cubs are the only team in the NL Central that is going to come out of the NL Central. They're going to win a division with their additions to their team. I mean, with Justin Steele, with Jameson Talion, with Shota Amanaga,
Well,
their pitching
not gonna.
rotation is phenomenal. Their pitching rotation is insane. Yeah, do they have some holes in their starting lineup for hitting? Yes, but their rotation is hard to match. They have three aces on that team.
So I'm going to say true as well. And I think Milwaukee got worse. And it comes down to this because I've said this a couple of times. When teams get worse and other teams get better, you see the flip flop. Milwaukee got worse with Willie Adames and Devin Williams leaving, and the Cubs got better with Kyle Tucker joining the team. Kyle Tucker is
Yeah.
going to end up being the first 30-30 player the Cubs should have since Sammy Sosa.
And people sleep on Kyle Tucker. It's funny. Playing fantasy baseball, I'm just going to bring this in. I take a look at the top 10. Kyle Tucker's in the top 10. I had no clue. Taking a look, I'm like, what is Kyle Tucker doing every year? He's a sleeper pick. You don't know. I mean, like he doesn't have the name that is of like Aaron Judge, but he's a masher. He is phenomenal.
And he's got speed on the bases. So the Cubs got better, signing Ryan Presley to be what I'm assuming he's going to be their closer.
Hmm.
You know, Pete Crow Armstrong should be able to take the leap. Young player, really good, former Met Farm system product. Dansby Swanson, Nick Horner should help produce runs. And if Matt Shaw can be the answer for the Cubbies at third, this is a team that wins the division handily.
Hmm.
Handily.
Yeah.
Let's move out to the West. True or false? The Padres will be out of the playoff hunt by June and will be sellers at the trading deadline.
I'm going to have to say false with this. Their team has too much firepower. Jackson Merrill, as a rookie last year, he's phenomenal. Fernando Tatis, and Manny Machado. I mean, like, even though Manny Machado, you're not a fan of him, but he is damn good at baseball. Same thing with picking up Luis Ariz from the Marlins. They have a decent squad. Their lineup is scary. And the rotation, I mean, it's not a powerful rotation, but with Michael King and Dylan Cease as the 1-2, I do not see them falling off in June.
I have to agree with my little brother, and it's out of love, not hatred, Daniel. And I will say why. Because this is a team that, yes, has all of these horses in the stable. And if you're looking at this from a business perspective, that is a lot of sunk costs right there. You have a lot of really, really high caliber, high talent players there. And you've tied up a hell of a lot of money across that entire team. I mean, this is a team that is going nose to nose in the same division with the Dodgers. Have they outspent the Dodgers? No.
Nobody outspends the
Nobody
Dodgers.
outspends the Dodgers, right? Nobody.
I'm going to say true, but it's wishful thinking. I want the Padres to be out of it so that they have to trade Michael King or Dylan Cease before the trade deadline because they only have 1 year of control left on both of their contracts. So I want them to trade them to the Mets as a rental so that the Mets get some halfway decent pitching for the latter half of the season. I agree with everything everyone is saying. It's still a team that has Tatis and Machado, Jackson Merrill, Luis Arias, lots of scoring potential in that lineup. What I do wish is for them to be out of the playoff hunt early so that they can trade Dylan Cease or Michael King to the Mets. That's what I want.
That's wishful
That's what I
thinking. I
want.
mean, like,
It is.
Spear, that's on the line of Brian Hammer thinking.
Yeah, I
I mean,
said schemes
you guys are
earlier,
both.
right?
You
Yeah,
guys are
so
both like in clouds, and like
well,
I just want to
well,
know
it's the
what
water we
type
drink
of
in New
waggy
York, Daniel.
tobacco that
It's
I
you
the
guys
know.
water
are
we drink.
cooking.
I know,
Yep.
but at least Dan, I'm being a little bit more realistic about my ask.
All right.
These guys are rentals. Paul Skeens is a Cy Young
That's
candidate
true.
who's like 4 more years on his rookie contract. Settle
Yeah,
down.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's right.
Settle down.
I'll unfurl. Go ahead.
True or false? The Dodgers will win 117 games this season to break the all-time season wins record set by the 1906 Cubs and the 2001 Mariners.
False. Here's why. They know they're good, and they know that they have to be ready for the playoffs. They have to be ready for World Series run. So I see this as a time where they build up enough wins just to stay out in front, and then they play their seniors, or they play their kids, whatever it's going to take for some of their youngsters to get a little bit of major league action. Maybe they'll win a few, maybe they'll lose a few, but I don't think it's really in their best interest, number one. But number two, I don't think that's their sight that they're setting right now to be the all-time regular season win champion. Look how well that worked out for the Mariners back in '01. They still missed the World Series.
I'm so happy that a lot of my answers are opposite of my brother.
Well, it's because you yearn to be me. It's okay,
No, no,
Dan.
I
It's
yearn to
okay.
not be you.
It's okay that you,
So
you want to
it's
rebel. It's okay to rebel, little brother. It's
I,
okay. Tell
I'm
the audience why you want to
I'm
rebel.
gonna have to say true to this. I mean,
Show us on the
you
dome
take
where they touched you in the naughty place. Go ahead. Keep us entertained.
you take a look at this lineup. There's no other lineup like this in MLB. It's kind of like, when you take a look at game 5 of the World Series with the Yankees up 5-0 and like the Dodgers just coming back to win it. So, I mean, like you see this team and it's just sick. It's absolutely sick. Not to mention the rotation. They have 4 aces. And with the addition of Sasaki, I don't see them losing all that much. Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Sasaki as 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's
And
just
you didn't
sick.
even mention Otani.
I didn't even mention Otani. And Otani's not even going to pitch as much. He may pitch some, but Yes, they're definitely going to be over 117.
Now, how many wins do you give them?
I say they're gonna float around 120.
I don't know. I can't say 120. I won't put a number on it, but I'll say true. I don't think they can win all 162, but this is a team that's built to mow over the National League. Like I said, Otani, Snell, Yamamoto, Sasaki is likely to be a candidate for National League Rookie of the Year, and
Glass
that lineup
now,
is
yeah,
Glass
it's
now. The lineup is already stellar. You're hoping that Betts comes back healthy from whatever this thing is he has,
hmm
but it doesn't matter, right? The Dodgers are built to win. 117 wins isn't out of the question. True or false? The National League Championship Series participants will be the Dodgers and the Braves.
I say true. I think you have obviously the stellar Dodgers. I think we can all agree that they are in a class of their own, and a healthy Braves is a scary Braves. As much as I want to root for my little brother's team in Philadelphia, they're a great team, but they don't have enough answers for what's happening down in Atlanta.
again, I'm so happy. False,
Wow.
because the thing is, when you deal with playoffs, you go with who is having the run. Like last year, it was
Run.
the New York Mets. The Mets came in, they weren't supposed to be there, but
No.
yet they still made it to the NLCS.
You hear
It's
that,
basically
Spare?
it's
You
going to
had
be
no business being there, Spare. No
I agree.
business.
I
it's
agree.
he agrees with it. I mean, like I absolutely loved watching the Mets last year, but it's just how the teams play. It's and you hear it from Atlanta Braves fans. I'm sorry, but they always say like, oh, like the teams that finish in first or second and they have a bye that's not good. We're going to get cold and stuff like that. Like then how about you lose a couple games and you don't have a bye? But the thing is, I mean, you see the teams that go in hot into the playoffs usually make it to the championship series. Last year, was the Mets. This coming year, I know you guys are going to think that I'm crazy, but taking a look at the Diamondbacks, they have a decent team. They have, a sick rotation in Zach Allen, Corbin Burns, and Merrill Kelly, and their lineup is pretty darn good. I mean, like hopefully Corbin Carroll gets out of that sophomore slump that he had last year and comes into like how he was in his rookie season. But I could see either Arizona or even the Cubs making it to the NLCS.
Yeah, I won't argue with you that the Cubs or the Diamondbacks, and I agree with you that the Diamondbacks have the pitching for a short series
Hmm.
that could get you there. But I still think the Braves and the Dodgers are the class of the National League. So
They
I'm
are.
going to say I'll say true. Absent the information about which team is hot, I'm going to go with the two best teams, and I'm going to say it's true that the Dodgers and Braves will represent the National League in the championship series. True or false, the American League championship participants will be the Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles.
I'm going to actually say that it's going to come down to, and this is going to pain Littlehammer, but I still believe that the Yankees are still the best team in the AL East, regardless of what Baltimore and what Boston has done in the offseason. I don't think Toronto has what it takes. The Central is basura.
That means
I'm not.
garbage.
That means garbage for all of those paying attention. So I'm going to say that Central's completely out. I do like the Rangers, but I do like Seattle more. So I think it's going to be New York, Seattle. That's my guess.
Ooh, all right. New York, Seattle. Dan, what do you got?
Again, I'm just so happy. I have true
You should
here.
be.
I'm going with Spear with his NL picks, the best teams in the NL. These are the best teams in the AL. Baltimore and the Rangers are both the best teams in the AL. The Yankees aren't going to even sniff the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Wow.
But I see the Rangers and Baltimore in the ALCS.
I like this to be true. Um,
Spiteful bastards.
I like the Orioles. Even if the Red Sox win the division, I still think the Orioles make the playoffs. I still think the Orioles are the better team, and I think they will represent in the ALCS. All right, so World Series picks. World Series picks. I have here true or false. The Dodgers will go back to back and defeat the Rangers in the World Series. What say you?
I say false because I don't think it's the Rangers they play.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
who are they going to play?
Who are they going to
it's
play?
either going to be either the Yankees or Seattle. So I say false. I say true. The Dodgers go back to the World Series, but I say false. It's not going to be. It's not going to be Texas.
Who's your pick to win the World Series?
There won't be a winner. There'll be some kind of crazy Martian landing that's going to,
Oh my God.
disrupt
You are the
the entire
worst.
thing.
You are just
I
the
really am.
worst. Dan,
He
who's your
he
pick?
is he is a true Yankees fan, isn't he?
Just the worst. Just the
He is a-
worst. Just the
Martians are
worst.
going to come down. They're going to attack. I tell you.
Just the worst.
He doesn't think with logic and reason.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm finished with him.
Okay.
Who do you
I
who do you
told
think?
you it
who
was
do you
late.
got?
I was getting punchy.
Who do you got, Dan? Who do you got in the World Series?
I have both those guys in the World Series. I do have the Rangers and I do have the Dodgers. And Dodgers have too much firepower. They're going to go back to back.
Yeah, I say true as well. Let's talk about MVPs. True or false? Bobby Witt Jr. will be the AL MVP.
I'm going to have to say true with that. Reason being is it just seems like Aaron Judge, he's good at baseball. We all know
Yes,
this.
he is. He's very good at
But
baseball.
he is very good at baseball. But I feel like he's kind of like, he's not going to go back to back. He won MVP last year, but it's kind of like he goes on one year, goes off one year. I feel like this year it's going to be Bobby Witt Jr. He is a phenomenal player.
Brian, what do you think? You got Aaron Judge?
No, I don't. And it's because of what I said in the last podcast. I said that he doesn't have the supporting cast to help him. And every year that he has a huge 50-plus home run year, he falls off the next year, be it through usually injury. And he's going to be pressing way too hard this year. I don't wish any ill will on him. I'm just telling you now. But I think there's going to be too much pressure as the team captain. I think he's going to press a little too hard. And you're going to have some sort of injury, befall, and his production will not meet what it was last year. Therefore, it will open up the door for somebody like Bobby Witt.
All right.
Spear, write down that date and time. Me and my brother
Yep.
both agreed on something.
Yeah, it's really
We agree on a
unfortunate.
few things.
You guys have done that a couple of
Relax. There's a
times.
few
You
on
guys
this.
have done that a couple of
Yeah,
times. Yeah, it's
Sometimes.
unfortunate.
right. We
Stop
both
stop
agree.
doing that.
We both agree you're ugly. So
Oh God.
congratulations.
True or false? Shohei Ohtani goes back to back as National League MVP.
That's a tough one because you think about it, that's going to be 3 years in a row. He's going to win AL, NL, and then he's going to win it again. It's going to be back to back to back if you think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can see that because also Juan Soto is good at baseball, and hopefully he doesn't since he is a Met right now. And I apologize, Spear. Hopefully he does not get injured and he
I
makes
don't
it
want him to
through.
get
But
injured.
how the Mets are, like every year something crazy does happen, except for last year. But I do see Juan Soto coming out as the NL MVP.
Brian, what do
So
you think?
this is gonna make Danny hate me even more because I agree with him here. Because here's why. Juan Soto is, I said it before, he's a playmaker, and it's unfortunate that he went to the other side of New York, but he made his choice. But you cannot deny his talent. I think he is going to be that Met that shows up. He's going to be the one that shows up on that softball day for the Springfield faithful. He'll take over Homer Simpson's spot in the lineup, and he'll be the lone right fielder, fantastic player that the Mets knew he could be.
I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I'm still going to say true to this because Otani is a damn unicorn. If he pitches and he's half the pitcher he was before he blew his arm out, there's no one that can compete with him for MVP. Keep an eye on Soto and also keep an eye on Ellie De La Cruz, who's a must watch every time he's at bat
I agree.
or running the bases. Keep an eye on De La Cruz. He's going to get one of these at some point. True or false? Garrett Crochet is your American League Cy Young winner.
False.
Who you got?
I have Scooble. I feel
Eric
like
Skubal? Yep.
yeah. Garrett Crochet is a phenomenal pitcher, but I don't think he holds a candlestick to Scooble.
I have a dark horse, and he plays for the Yankees. His name is Max. I think Max becomes the Cy Young. He steps into Cole's shoes because he's inspired by his injury, and he wants to do right by him, and he's going to pull it together. So he's going to step up, make use of his contract. He's going to be the AL Cy Young.
All right. Max Fried is your AL Cy Young winner. I'm going to say it's Garrett Crochet. I would also say keep an eye on Cole Reagans in Kansas City. I like him a lot. Keep an eye on him. He's a dark horse. False. Paul Skeens is your National League Cy Young winner.
True or false?
That's the game we've been playing for the
No,
last,
but you said false. I only heard you say the word false. I didn't hear you say true. That's why I was confused.
Oh my God.
I say that yes, true, that he is the Cy Young
I'm
nominee.
surprised by that, Bri, because I thought you would say false because he would be in the AL this year.
Didn't you say NL?
Yeah, he's in the NL, right? But you said that he's going to be traded to the Yankees. So, I mean, like, how can he be the NL Cy Young
No, I
if
said I
he's
was
on the
being
Yankees?
hopeful. I said I was being
Oh my
Okay.
hopeful.
goodness.
You scallywag, you. Don't make me use bad language. Rapscallion.
What do you
I'm
got,
gonna
Dan?
I'm gonna have to say true to this too. No one holds a candlestick to Paul Skeens. I mean, you see Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, he still is phenomenal, but Paul Skeens is going to be the new ace in the NL.
I say false. I want to see it. I want to see a full season of it, and I want to see it with all of the restrictions taken off. In the meantime, I like Zach Wheeler. I think this is his year to finally get the hardware. It
Yeah,
may
you
be
know what?
it may be one of his last.
I can definitely see that because you know what? Paul Skeens may not have the wins because of his team not going to put up the run support like Zach Wheeler has on his team. So he could lose by run support by not having enough wins.
Yeah,
So
I
I can
like Zach.
definitely
I
see
like
that.
Zach. I like Wheels. I
Yeah.
like Wheels for this year. I think this is his year.
Hmm.
True or false? Christian Campbell of the Boston Red Sox is your American League Rookie of the Year.
False, because he's in Boston and I hate Boston.
Okay, Dan, what do you got?
So I'm going to say false, and I feel like I'm going to give Brian a big head if I say this name, but I feel like Jason Dominguez is going to be
Oh my God! Oh God, my raging heart on. Oh goodness! Oh, would you? Oh
is
wow!
going to get the nod for the AL Rookie of the Year.
I'll say true. I think if things are going to go as well for the Red Sox as I think they will, Campbell is going to be a large part of the reason why.
Mm.
True or false? Roki Sasaki will be your National League Rookie of the Year.
All right, I'm going to say true to this because he's going to be the number 4 in rotation. So he's going against number 4 starters. He's going to have so much opportunity to go against number 4 starters, maybe even have a Cy Young nod with the amount of wins that he's going to obtain.
Yeah, and I'm going to say true because the rich get richer. I mean, if you're going to have the kind of season that we're talking about the Dodgers having and they're going to win 110, 115, 117 games,
Mm-hmm.
then Sasaki's going to be a big part of that. He's going to get the wins. He's going to have all of the stats and the accolades. The rich get richer. True or false? Alex Cora will be your AL Manager of the Year.
I'm going to have to say true to this. Reason being is because they're going to have more wins than the Yankees this year, and they're going to want to show Boston the hardware. Isn't that right, Bry?
You're saying that to anger me, and I'm not going to take the bait. It's going to be the guy in Seattle, Dan Wilson. All right. Danny Wilson is going to win because he's going to show that club how to win. He's going to get them over the hump. Voters love that. So I have a feeling that this is going to be his year. And he also shares my little brother's name, and I know that turns him on.
Yeah, I like that first time manager for the Seattle Mariners getting the Manager of the Year nod. All right,
Yeah,
I could see
I'm
it.
down with that.
All right, and last but not least, true or false? Brian Snitker will be your National League Manager of the Year.
So I'm gonna have to say false with that, just because he has the name Brian. I'm just not down with that name. But actually, in all seriousness, I feel that Craig Counsell is going to win Manager of the Year with the Chicago Cubs.
I like that. I'm going to say false. I think it's too early to call this in a very competitive National League. And you got to keep an eye on Cincinnati with Terry Francona. Francona has been known to turn teams around very quickly. Now, the Reds aren't exactly close, but they aren't that far away. It would still be a major surprise if they make the playoffs. But if they do, Francona wins this going away. So I would keep an eye on Terry Francona in Cincinnati in his first year as the Reds manager.
So it's almost an unfair question then, because it's like you put us in the spot here, Spear. It's like, tell us who it is. And we say, and like, no, it's too early to tell. We're gonna. So I felt like
Well, it's
you
my
kind of
list.
gave us the football to kick, and you pulled it away, Lucy.
It's my list and it's my game, and I can make up the rules as I go along.
Okay, all right, take the ball, go home with it. All right,
That's right. It's
I
my
see how
ball,
this
and I'm
is.
going home. So there we go. There's our Major League Baseball preview right here on the cusp of opening day. Hope springs eternal on opening day, boys. And I'm looking forward to a great season. I'm hopeful for my beloved Metropolitans. I'm hopeful for your Philadelphia Phillies, Dan. I am not at all
Thank
hopeful
you.
for the New York Yankees, and I hope you all rot in hell.
I don't imagine it ever being any different. And before we can even just jump off this, can we at least mention and give some weird accolades to the New York Yankees that they made the decision just mere hours ago that for the first time in their history that they're going to have a catcher be in their leadoff spots. Mr. Austin Wells will be out of the leadoff spots starting opening day 2025.
Yeah, that's a bold move by Aaron Boone to probably put one of the slowest members of the team in the leadoff spot.
Well, I guess it worked for the Phillies. I mean,
It works for the Phillies.
Yeah,
it
might
works
as well work for the Yankees, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got a guy who mashes, and let's face it, do you really want somebody, stealing bases and doing a bunch of stuff, or just Aaron Judge is going to come and hit a home run anyway, knock him in? So why do you have to run fast? That's the brilliance of Mr. Boone, if you will.
You're calling him brilliant now. Now he's brilliant.
No, I'm not.
Before
I'm
he
not
had
calling him brilliant
pictures
at
of
all.
the Steinbrenners blowing goats,
No,
and now you think he's
no.
brilliant.
I don't think he's brilliant at all. Don't put words in my mouth. I was being
You
facetious.
just said.
I was being facetious.
Now he's being facetious, Dan.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, it's funny that
It's
you
called
mentioned that. Like,
sarcasm.
you have a guy the slowest, Austin Wells as a catcher at the leadoff spot, and you say that he is a masher. And like, what has he mashed? I mean, he had 13 home runs. Mashed potatoes. I mean, like, if we're doing like
He
comparing
gets on
him
base, he
to
gets knocked in.
oh yeah, with
That's the bottom
229 batting average. Yeah,
Gets on base.
his career batting average of 229 is
He
that
gets
what we're
on
talking
base,
about?
he gets
Because
knocked
the last
in.
time that
And what I like
checked,
about it,
okay.
is that he gets back to the dugout faster so he can pull in his equipment. All right, it's called
Well,
strategy. Dan. Why don't
that's
you
the
look it up?
strategy. Yeah, he gets out quickly so he can go back and put on his freaking chest protector and his shin protectors. I like this idea, Aaron Boone. Get
As
him
you
up
should.
so he can get his equipment on. Good
That's
job.
right.
I desperately want to get out of this podcast very, very badly.
Yes.
You can check out the Three Tool Players podcast on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or wherever fine podcasts are sold. And if you're watching and listening to us on YouTube, make sure you mash that like and subscribe button, or buttons, as the kids would say. Mash those. Mash them. I don't even know what that means. For Brian and Dan Hammer, I'm Chris Beer, and we thank you for listening to this episode of Three Tool Players.